But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest far right. And so just as I say we aren't going to let any dogs or water hoses turn us around, we aren't going to let any injunction turn us around.
George Floyd died in police custody after an officer pressed his knee into Floyd's neck for at least 7 minutes.
After a video that captured the death of George Floyd surfaced the internet, protests erupted across America. We've seen in the video with an officer's knee on his neck, struggling to catch a breath. Protesters took to the streets to demand justice for George Floyd, but since then, social media has blown up with videos of police brutality, and people are angry as they demand reform and change. We at The Perspective Company joined protesters in Atlanta to get their perspective on the situation. The atmosphere was filled with emotion and passion.
Just say your name. My name is Paul Hobson. Paul Hobson. I'm a pastor in Georgia.
I'm Sean. My name is Jayla.
I'm Deani Rodriguez.
What brought you out here today to go through this whole march and protest?
What brought me out here is because, honestly, my friend had texted me the flyer about people coming out to protest, and I was actually going to babysit my nephew for this weekend. And whenever you're like a black woman or a black man, the only thing you can think is, okay, this could be my nephew. Okay, I could be Brianna. And so like when we come out here, it's like making sure that like I'm not the next Rihanna, he's not the next George, just to also save lives as well as protesting for the lives that have been lost. So I was inspired to come out here because of that.
I hate hierarchical power structures, and I got a lot of black people in my family, man, and I fear for them every day. You know what I'm saying? So this shit has to be addressed. I'm over 40 years old now, and I've been watching racist cops beat the shit out of my friends and family since I was 12 or 13. And the cup is overflowing, as they say.
Because at 62 years old and seeing this a lot, it's my responsibility to be here talking. It's my way of saying I got to do more. I'm involved in some more things, but I need to be out here.
Honestly, I came out here today because I think it's really fucking important that non-black people start taking part in this movement, start taking an active part in this movement, because my black brothers and sisters in humanity out here have to wear their fucking skin all the time. And we don't know what that feels like. The Latinx communities, the Asian communities, the Native communities, if we fight for each other, it's a fight for us. So I came out here to fight, and I'm gonna fight every day after this, and I have fought every day before this. It's really important to come out and show your face and do what matters.
We were talking about what the point of the march is, like what can it actually accomplish, and to me, like when they fly their like Blue Angels jets over us, or when they have their helicopters out, or even the cop cars being out with guns on their side, it's like a reminder that at any point they can just wipe us out if they want to. And this is sort of us doing the same thing, saying, you know what, there are thousands of people out here risking their lives because we care about these issues, and so you take one more step too far, you're gonna have to answer to all of these people. And what is so, you know, so like heartening to me is everyone out here, I'd say the average age is probably what, 22?
Yeah,
it's a lot of young people out here.
Minnesota obviously have looked a lot different than the protests that have been happening other places in America and stuff. And I mean, the protest today was really peaceful, going to the Capitol and back. What do you think pushed people in Minnesota to get to that point? And do you think it'll be possible for people in other cities to get pushed to that point as well?
I'm not an advocate for violence. However, you have to, I'm not condoning it. At the same time, you've got to understand the perspective from which they came from. So absolutely, I'm against violence, but I'm hurt because of what is happening.
I think it's just anger. I think, you know, everyone handles it differently, and I think because it happened there, it's closer to home for them. So it's like people are angry, and no, this is also like where he passed away. So like it's almost like people worked with him. You know, people saw him, people lived in the neighborhood as him.
He's like in the
So I feel like people were a lot more outraged because that happened in their community. And that was a police officer that people probably knew there as well. So as it probably spread out, people were just kind of like angry about it happening. And it's happened so many times. I think people in general just kind of fed up. So I think that kind of took the toll of people going out and like vandalizing and it being a little bit more unpeaceful than our protest.
Well, I mean, it's really all the same struggle, man. You know, what happened in Minneapolis could have happened anywhere. That, you know, the tragedy of George Floyd transpired. That could have happened anywhere, but you got to remember what's also contributing to this, the whole Rona thing. You know, we've been cooped up for months, and everybody's aggravated at 40 million plus unemployment right now. A lot of people are hurting, you know, and this was really, that was dynamite, ready to explode. And that's what happened there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that we all have the ability to get pushed that far. You know, if something like that happened in our city, and it took, you know, and it did happen in our state, right? It took 3 months to arrest people that murdered Ahmaud Arbery. I think we can definitely get to that point if it doesn't stop, if it keeps happening, and if people aren't held accountable. So if this man, the police officer, and the people down in Georgia, and the police officer with Breonna Taylor aren't held accountable for what they did, yeah, I think there's going to be a lot more racial violence, because if peace doesn't work, then we have to look for something else.
Yeah, absolutely. It's nothing new. It happened after Freddie Gray. It happened after Michael Brown. It happened after Trayvon. It happened after, it's not new. It's just, at what point do you see enough people dying and think, maybe I should do something about it? I think people are doing something about it, as opposed to posting on Facebook. And absolutely we should vote, and absolutely we should call our senators, and absolutely we should rally around our civic groups, our county officials, our board members. But at what point are you going to bring your body outside and show people en masse the numbers, like Lee was saying earlier, how we outnumber them, man? We fucking outnumber them. And here's the thing, 99.9% of these people aren't armed. This is a peaceful protest. And I think it's showing that we will only stay peaceful for so long. You just can't murder people in cold blood, broadcast it, and expect people not to do something.
Deani was right. People can only stay peaceful for so long. Later that night, across the nation, violence broke out as people let their anger be known about the death of George Floyd. Police began to tear gas, flashbang, and shoot rubber bullets at protesters as the night went on. Our eyes on the ground across the nation were able to get first-hand footage as protests went late into the night of May 29th. America, it is time for a change. There needs to be no more fear in America for being stopped for a traffic violation. There needs to be no more fear in America for walking or jogging in neighborhoods. There needs to be no more fear in America when talking to cops. It's time we become a nation that's truly liberty and justice for all. If you want to help, we are selling t-shirts on our website, where 100% of proceeds will be donated to the Black Lives Matter movement, and another t-shirt where 30% of proceeds will go to the Black Lives Matter movement. Follow us on social media at The Perspective Company for more content and to stay updated.